வாழ்க வளமுடன், வாழ்க வளமுடன். அறிவேதான் தெய்வம் என்றார் தாயுமானார். அகத்ததுதான் மெய்ப்பொருள் என்று எடுத்துக்காட்டி அறிவதனை அறிவித்தார் திருவள்ளுவர். அவ்வறிவை அறிவதற்கு முறைகள் சொன்னார் அறிஞர் திருமூலர். அப்பேரறிவிலாழ்ந்து ஆனந்த கவியாத்தார் ராமலிங்கர். அறிவில் அறிவாய் நிலைத்தோர், அறம்பகுத்தோர், அதை வாழ்ந்து காட்டினோர் நினைவு கூறுவோம். வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளம்.
Cause to gain the spiritual knowledge. I came to know Swami Vethathiri Maharishi Maharaj 4 years back in Chicago. I had a priceless experience and gain from him, and I wanted to share it with whosoever I came in contact with. I thank Swamiji very much for accepting my humble request to come over here, and once again give us the same opportunity which I had 4 years back. Swamiji is the exponent of simplified Kundalini Yoga, and he will be explaining that what simplified Kundalini Yoga is in his very first lecture today or this afternoon, which in my opinion is the sure way to lasting peace and happiness. Swami Vethathiri Maharishi ji, in my opinion, is one of the unique Swamiji who is willing to give all what he has to everyone who is willing to take. With this small introduction, I request Swamiji to start his program. We have already distributed this program to all the people. Whosoever does not have the copy of the program, there are some lying over there and they can take one. His first lecture this afternoon will be Simplified Kundalini Yoga. Second will be on Unified Force. That will be tomorrow morning and in the afternoon. And third will be Analysis of Thoughts and Moralization of Desire. Fourth will be Neutralization of Anger. Fifth will be Eradication of Worries. Sixth will be Sins and Purification. Seventh will be Harmony in Married Life. And the last and the final one will be Self-Realization and Karma Yoga. After the first lecture on Simplified Kundalini Yoga today, he will be giving the initiation for the meditation, whosoever is interested. That he will give after the lecture itself. After the finish of the lecture, whosoever is interested in getting the initiation, I would request him to put down his name and address on the copy which will be passing around, so that we will keep you people in touch with the information later. With that, I request Swamiji to start his program. And one more thing, Swamiji is also, and she has been with him all the time, whether he is in India or in United States. Swamiji spends about 4 months in United States, and she has been a tremendous help for him in the United States as well as in India. And I also thank the Sai Center over here for spreading this message about Swamiji, for giving his lectures over here. And my thanks especially go to Mr. Panagarji. Swami, this is Mr. Panagarji. He's the head of Sai Center over here. And Mr. Manoj, Mr. Manu, for giving us the help in making this program possible. With that, I once again request every one of you for coming over here and taking the opportunity to listen to Swami. Thank you very much.
To be with you in this wonderful evening. You all have come already and residing here. Away from our own country, that is nearly 6,000 miles away. I used to come to foreign countries, and wherever I go, I meet our friends, Indian friends. and enjoy the brotherhood. On the whole world, I am traveling and finding the cultural values and the spiritual knowledge and the aspiration in the people. When we assess in that way comparatively, India is having all the potentials in the spiritual knowledge. But now they are not giving proper value in this age where it is very much essential. Whereas other nations such as USA and Japan are giving more importance to the spiritual knowledge. Anyhow, I am trying to induce the mind of our Indian people, even in our country. All the 6 months I am working all through the country, from north to south. I am inculcating in the minds of the people the value of our spiritual knowledge and the heritage. Also, the cultural value of every country is having its own. Similarly, our country is having the cultural value differently than all other countries. So now, from the scriptures and Vedantas and the advices of Maharishis and saints, I have learned a lot for the past 50 years. I dedicated completely to the spiritual field in learning, and now in teaching I am working for about 35 years completely. The spiritual knowledge, necessity of spiritual knowledge is growing in the whole world than before. How much the disturbances are growing, that much the aspiration in the spiritual knowledge also is growing in the minds of learned people and the socially minded people. As you all are born in India, you will have the blood of Indian culture. To understand more clearly about our spiritual culture and the benefits. Now I am teaching not only Kundalini Yoga. I am teaching the science of life, science of living. It is the package of living principles which is helpful for the whole world. Simplified Kundalini Yoga is the name given for the meditation what I teach. In addition to that, I am teaching introspection to find out the fault and missing within self and get advancement in the knowledge to fulfill the purpose of life. And many people in the world are suffering in one way or other from various diseases. In some people, the disease is not shown significantly, but many diseases are hiding. So, the diseases hiding in one person that will take seed in their children and they continue for several generations. So, the diseases should be cured and avoided. For that purpose, I am teaching certain kind of physical exercises to regulate the circulation of blood, heat, air, and energy in the body. Beyond that, I am teaching one yoga which is called Kaya Kalpa to purify the sexual vital fluid and lengthen the life span, avoiding old age miseries. Now you are seeing in the whole world, in one way or other, most of the people are suffering from pains, miseries, mentally and physically. Whether he is a rich man or poor man, whether he is educated or uneducated, one is a lady or man, all are equally having some problems. Why so? Whereas man is provided by the nature, the sixth sense, which is the top of all the knowledge. Why? If you find the reason, then you will understand the need and necessity of the spiritual knowledge in the life of mankind. Man started life long before. From the hereditary link of animals, first man started. From that day onwards, families proliferated. Now, in the whole world, there are several millions of the people. According to the place, the climatic conditions of the earth and the local environmental condition, development of the consciousness and the need felt by people, several concepts and deeds started. Of course, they were necessary to that place and time, but all are not necessary for all the time and all the places. When you compare the life of mankind in the primitive age and now, you will find a great difference. What was the habit and concept on those days? They will not suit for this year. Most of them are pains resulting and unnecessary wasting of energy and time. Never we thought what we are going, where we are going, what we should achieve. Never we thought of the old balance, the old account. So only by the habit we are following our life generation after generation. The accumulation of unnecessary rituals are becoming burden. And the imaginary concepts and fictitious stories are occupying our minds. You want that everybody is looking at others to find fault or get something. Even though everybody is provided with full potential of knowledge and good physics, if each one develops his knowledge and capacity, will be able to help 100 people on in the society, even 1,000 people. And also his knowledge will be useful for many, many thousands of years to mankind. Such is the wonderful, valuable talent, efficiency is provided in man. Because of not knowing the value and greatness of man and purpose of the man, everybody is going only with a conditioning conscience, concept and habits. The habits have become imprints. They are called karmas. What are the karmas and experiences in the life that becomes character of a man? In such a way, how many generations we have crossed through the hereditary link. In all the generations, whatever they have done, whatever they enjoyed, whatever they thought of, all are imprinted and carried over generation after generation in the human life. So in such a way, everybody is having the hereditary imprints, which is called Sanjit Karma in our language. Sanjit is said to be bundle, old bundle. Sanjit Karma is hereditary imprints achieved by millions of generations. So after we were born on the world, whatever the deed we committed, whatever the experience we got, whatever the desire we had, all are imprinted. These imprints are present life imprints. This is called by the name Prarabdha Karma. So, everybody is having these two layers of imprints of karmas. The sum total of two karmas is the character of the man, quality of the man, personality of the man, nothing more or less. So, only according to the karmas, imprints, habits, our life is going on. The time is getting changed. When you think of the primitive age, what is the development? Stone Age, then man found fire and metals, then electricity, atomic age. Now, the electronic age. In the electronic age, computer age has come. This communication facilities will link the whole world of human race. Whatever one gets a benefit, all can get the same benefit by such wonderful communication facilities and the traveling facilities. Even then, why the suffering? Is there poverty of materials? No. Really, the material poverty is completely gone because of the scientific development and the working and sincerity of scientists. Everybody is getting the benefit of sciences. The tendency to help one another, not to inflict pain to other, to do the duties properly. These three are missing in many people's life. This is the cause for all the disturbances and war, conflicts. How can this be purified or made to good? People are thinking, wise people are thinking. Politically, this disturbance cannot be made well and bring peace. Or economically by industrialist, peace cannot come. Even by religious people, the people cannot come. Then what is the way? Only the spiritual knowledge of individuals will bring peace into individual, society, and to the whole world. So, according to this age, we have to have a master plan to achieve peace in mankind. Here and there, small corrections and changes will not do anything. All the three stages, peace is necessary. Individual peace, peace in the society, peace among all nations, necessary. Only when man understands the value of man and respects the need and ambitions of others, and restricts his activities accordingly, peace will not come. Such a knowledge is spiritual knowledge. To understand the feeling of others and come forward to help him, that tendency is to develop in all human beings. It is there. Naturally, everybody is having. That is hidden by circumstances and habits. To cross all those things and come to the point of the peace and clear understanding of the knowledge. The spiritual knowledge is necessary. The spiritual knowledge, the practice and achievement and follow, totally called as yoga. What is yoga? To maintain the relationship between body and soul, that is health. To maintain the relationship, harmony and relationship between soul and mind, that is positive thoughts. To maintain the relationship and harmony between individual and society by virtuous way of living. To maintain the harmony between nature, law of nature, and consciousness of man. These four angles, man should understand his values and duties. For that, he has to come away from the conditioning mind and expand his knowledge to understand the nature fully, understand the value of man, when he understands, he will realize is the part of nature, part of Almighty, fraction of God, as well as others. Only this expansion of the knowledge within 2 or 3 generations at least could change the world from chaos to peace. So, first let us start with the individual peace. For that purpose, a psychic practice as well as practice to do virtuous deeds. These two are necessary. So in the Kundalini Yoga, what we do, first we teach meditation. In the whole world, there are so many kinds of meditations. And meditation has its own meaning, but many people don't know. Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. There are 4 practices for the mind. Pratyahara is to understand the value of materials, commodities, and enjoyment, and keep a limit and method in the enjoyment. That is pratyahara. Not drowning with the enjoyment. Not to get attachment with the enjoyment. Understanding the need and enjoy with limit and none. Whenever any enjoyment or happiness crosses the limit or method, the same happiness will change into pain, miseries. So, all of the desire of enjoying happiness, that should remain always happiness. This way, to understand the mind, understand the personality, understand the value of man. The mind should understand first about materials and happiness. Second, that is pratyahara. Dharana. Mind has to get a practice. At will it has to work. Otherwise it is floating through the sensory perceptions and sexual attraction. From this level, mind to be brought to work according to your wish, will. For that, the practice is fixing the mind on one thing at will. That is called dharana. Dharana is concentration, that is fixing the mind on one thing at will. Then dhyan. Dhyan has more deeper meaning. Where from the mind emerges, it is only from consciousness which exists in the life force. Having the life force, it is jiva, anma, as a center of its own. The consciousness spreads to the whole body through the magnetic wave and then through the senses as perceptual ability. So that mind should be brought to the center point again. For that, realizing the existence and functions of our life force, fix the mind on the life force, become one with the life force, that is called meditation. Dhyan, merging, that is called laya, laya, anmalaya. Instead of projection through the senses, it gets laya from the point where it emerges. That is called laya. After getting laya, understanding the soul, life force, which is called Atma Darshan, then the same mind has to cross it and see, feel, understand the existence and functions of the life force. And the difference between the consciousness and soul. When he tries in that way, he is standing out of the life force and perceiving the movement or friction of his own life force. Where he is standing? What is beyond the life force? Beyond the energy particle everywhere, only static state, which is called Brahman, Almighty, Truth, exists. So at that time he becomes one with the truth, then only he is observing his own life force. There he understands what is called Brahman, Almighty, the truth, static state, that is he, that is the consciousness. So the consciousness, when it is with the truth, he is God, he is truth. When the same consciousness is working in the soul, as the imprint of all the experiences, there it is knowledge, collective experiences. The same consciousness through the senses perceives, feels pain and pleasure and fixes and reflects. Here the same consciousness becomes mind. And man understands his own consciousness and its three stages in the function. He will understand the value of himself. He realizes the God as well as himself. This realization will make himself perfect, as well as it helps to realize the value of everybody, the feeling of everybody. That will induce him to do the right thing, helping every living being and also not inflicting pain to any living being willingly. This is the value of man. In this way, he understands the Almighty. At the same time, he understands the virtue. These two are the core and goal of all the religions so far emerged. If you think and analyze all the teachings of the religions in the world, every religion is having only two teachings. One is worship of God, other is virtues, aram, tavam. Virtues can be divided into three: morality, duty, charity. These are the virtues. So all the religions so far have taught only this. So, but without understanding, blindly following, we are sometimes giving up the essence and taking only rituals. It is a dust. We are losing the purpose of life. The purpose of man's life is three: survival, enjoyment, and perfection of the consciousness. Unless he achieves all these three, man cannot get peace, satisfaction, harmony, nothing. So, survival, he needs material prosperity. So he has to work and get with the cooperation of the people. At the same time, enjoyment means enjoyment of pleasure, sensual pleasures. If anybody wants to enjoy pleasure continuously, he has to understand the limit and method, because every part, every cell, every limb, every sense is having certain capacity to enjoy. So when he exceeds the limit, deterioration comes in the structure, molecular structure of the limbs and senses, that will affect the body at that time or in future. So in the over enjoyment, whatever the limb or sense he strains more, disturbs the molecular structure and its working order. Definitely he gets a short circuit, and then it naturally becomes pain. In time, from the same part, same sense, he has to suffer from the disease. This is the karma. So beyond that, in the universal magnetism, all the imprints of the people as main computer is having. So whoever is doing some harm to anybody, the mental value, that is wave, will be affecting everybody. So in that way, we have to keep our mind always thinking of others only good things. So this all will be understood only when one understands the consciousness and God in the universe and its function. To understand all this, we are teaching philosophy as well as all the lessons. Suppose in the introspection we are teaching philosophy of life, analysis of thought, moralization of desire, neutralization of anger, the eradication of worries, and self-realization. This sixth subject will be enough to understand all about our life. And after that, practically how to implement all our knowledge, how to avoid unwanted habits and imprints. There are so many imprints in us. How to find out, how to purify our sins by expiation, superimposition, and dissolution. These three methods. These all are coming into being as teachings, theoretically as well as practically. Now, in the meditation, what we do, the meditation should be, the mind should be fixed on the life force. Where is the life force? The life force is pervading all through the body. Even then, it is having working center in the Mooladhara, which is sex gland. Until the life force is centering in the sexual gland, only material consciousness and emotional modes will be more in man. If at all a spiritual knowledge has to come, that is that the place, working place, center should be changed from Mooladhara to Ajna Chakra or Turiya. So, to raise the energy from Mooladhara to Ajna Chakra, in the olden days there were several practices. Among them, doing that is chanting mantra was one. The exercises was one. And then breathing practice, pranayama, is one. But this all will take long time, strenuous exercises. These days, all cannot be, but all are now in the need of spiritual knowledge and practice, but all cannot do. according to the need. Now, the nature has provided us a very, very simple method to raise the energy. That is simplified Kundalini Yoga. Through the simplified Kundalini Yoga, if you practice for some time, you can raise the energy of others within no time. Intensifying your own energy and supplying a very feeble, that is meager portion of your energy to others, you can raise the energy to many people. So in this way, the time has come according to the need of the society. The man will easily get the benefit of raising the life force from Mooladhara to Ajna Chakra easily. After raising, the feeling of the life force comes into being. So one has to concentrate, observe the feeling of his own life. So automatically he gets laya. So in the first day itself, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, all the three stages man achieves. And after that, when he practices and practice, this will become very good habit of keeping our mind in the center point with awareness, avoiding the emotional moods and understanding the law of nature. For this, the Kundalini Yoga is helpful for all people, man and woman, both. After 12 years of age, so we are fixing the age, it is a matured age, 13, 14 like that. So after that age, everybody has to get his own life force raised to the higher level. In one generation or two, this will help the whole family and family members large. So that is the Kundalini Yoga, what we are teaching. Other is Kaya Kalpa. Kaya Kalpa has two exercises. One is to recycle the sexual vital fluid, to lengthen the life, avoid the diseases. And other exercises to tone up the nervous system and postpone the old age and old age problems. This is the culmination of all yoga system that also we are teaching under Kundalini Yoga. So here you have the chance of learning all this from me directly, personally. Because in India, thousands of people are practicing. I cannot teach practically everyone personally. So more than 2,000 teachers have been trained there. So they are teaching in India. Only some important people come, I will give the initiation directly. So here you have the chance of getting the teaching directly from whoever is willing. May start today. Within the week, I can complete the course. And when you go on practicing, you will get all the results. It is the law of nature. Whatever you do, the result has to come. Because God is consciousness. He is pervading everything from atom to sun and one sense to sixth sense living being. So whatever the action you do, the result has to come. That result is the presence of Almighty. God comes in the presence of result in every action. This will be understood only by yoga. Then never we will miss God, never will be away from God. God will not be away from us. This is the sayings of Gita, when you understand me, my existence and everywhere, I am not lost for. So this will come true in the life of person who is doing yoga practice. With these words, I conclude my speech and wish all of you happy, peaceful, and peaceful life. Let them have some questions.
Yes, one more. Okay, thank you very much, Swamiji. I think should we give 15-20 minutes, and after that anybody?
Yeah, according to the questions,
Yeah.
let the time.
Okay. Okay, so the farm is open for question. Anybody who has got question, Swamiji will be more than happy to answer.
Swami, you pointed out consciousness at 3 different levels. Will you please explain it further in this?
Consciousness is if really you understand, consciousness is God. What is the static state? Primordial state of universe, which is called Brahman. That itself is having consciousness and force as inherent. Wherever the force starts, the consciousness works as, that is, a functional order. In such a way, from smallest particle up to the greatest sum, the consciousness is working at pattern, precision, regularity in everything. In the living being, it gets a second stage of function, perceptual ability with the cognition, experience, and discrimination in all living beings. Then in man, in addition to these 3 stages, to understand it is the collective consciousness. Whatever you have done from the birth, all are within your life force. Automatically they will come as memory. Or you can recollect. That is the storage of all the experiences and karmas. That is the second stage, which is otherwise called as soul, life force. When you go beyond that and become one with the static state, the total consciousness, there you are able to feel your own life force as the smallest particle in its real existence. There it becomes a superconscious mind, total consciousness, Almighty God. So Almighty, soul, mind, all the 3 are working order of the consciousness. This will be realized, understood practically by meditation and research. அணுக்கள் கூடி மோதி இணைந்து இயங்குகின்ற நிலைமைக்கேற்ப மூலகங்கள் பலவாகி அவை இணைந்து வேதித்த அண்டகோடிகளாய் மற்றும் பிறப்பு இறப்பு இடை உணர்தல் இயக்கமாகி நீதி நெறியுணர் மாந்தராகி வாழும் நிலை உணர்ந்து தொண்டாற்றி இன்பம் காண்போம். வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க. Friends, today our program is talk on unified force. In this auspicious day, let us invoke the knowledge of all the saints and philosophers who had dedicated their life for the emancipation of mankind to find out the truth and taught us the science of living with full understanding. Now, I am going to tell you in short the science of living. That means man is the part of universe, but content of all the secrets of universe. The beauties of nature are all over the world, all over the universe. But the secret of nature is within the mind of man. So, man is living on the earth. There are several countries, several ages went on, millions of generations have been passed. Now, man is in the top of the knowledge in the sciences as well as all researchers. He conquered the natural difficulties, but he does not know the real meaning of the life, real purpose of the life, and how to achieve the purpose. Living without knowing about himself brings pains and miseries in the society. If you analyze all the difficulties, problems in the society, all are man-made. That means by the poverty of knowledge. Material poverty is already covered and made up well because of the sciences. But poverty of knowledge is kept as it was. Poverty of knowledge can be divided into three parts. One is innocence, other is ignorance, the third is emotional moods. Innocence goes with the children and undeveloped people, minded people. They don't know the cause and effect system. Therefore, they are doing wrong deeds and bring troubles in the life. That can be overcome by guiding those people by the experienced persons under Bhakti Marg. Other is ignorance, the second part in the poverty of knowledge. This is to be completely annihilated. Ignorance is understood wrongly in the world by the language. Ignorance is conceived as not knowing anything, illiteracy or so on. It is not so. Ignorance is the word came from ignoring. What is the experiences one is having? Ignoring all the experiences, doing the same mistake and getting the same trouble, that is ignorance. This is only prevailing in the human society nowadays. Everybody knows which is right, which is wrong. Even then, the same way is doing because the habit. Even the enlightened people or educated people are not knowing how to get over the habits. Then he finds it is bad. So, all over the world, in all countries, in all races, man is struggling between wisdom and habit. He cannot get away from the habit, he cannot forget the wisdom too. Now the time has come. It is the peak of human knowledge man is getting into. The computer age. All the ages already have gone. Stone age, fire age, and metal age, electrical and atomic age. Beyond all this, the computer age has come. It is the time to know by the working order of the computer all the secrets of God all the secrets of universe, all the secrets of mind of man. So computer itself is a very great achievement in man's life when one understands its value and greatness. So in this age, man has to understand all about him, and also as all the sciences have been developed, the science of living also is to be developed to suit this age. The cultural values of man, the deeds and concept, were started and developed in particular place and particular area, particular time. Separately they were developing. Now, by politics, economics, and quick transportations and communication facilities, the whole world has come in one unit. The old deeds or habits and rituals all are not suitable to this age. There are many more rituals to be avoided. There are some more things should be added in the life with full understanding. The purpose of the life is to be known. Purpose of the life is survival, enjoyment, and perfection of the consciousness. Really, survival needs material prosperities. For that, man is provided with all the technical efficiency and the scientific ability. So with this, he can transform the natural resources into commodities and articles for the life. Then second is the enjoyment of happiness, sensual enjoyment, sensory perceptions. Whatever he enjoys, he has to find the limitations and methods. Because in the every enjoyment, his limbs and senses, in the molecular structure arrangement in the senses, and the cells arrangement in the body and their functions, all are connected. When you move with anything, with any people, there is a reactions in the body as well as from others. He has to understand all such results. Whatever he does, the natural force, law of nature, it's God's action, comes in presence as a result. Nothing more. When you eat the food changes into all 7 tadus and the body is maintained. All are not done by any person or any government, any parent. This is the law of nature, that is action of God. So, when you maintain the harmony in the body, harmony between body and soul, harmony between soul and mind, harmony between individual and society, harmony between law of nature and consciousness, the life will be enjoyable, peaceful, harmonious, and satisfactory. Wherever he misses, he loses all the enjoyment. So here, every enjoyment should be limited to a point. Otherwise, with what limbs and senses you are enjoying, the molecular structures and cells in the limbs and senses are disturbed, the polarity is disturbed, that becomes deteriorated in the function. That will, as a result, change into diseases. whatever the sense or limb you use for over enjoyment and strain, the same limb or sense is getting illness, deterioration. Timely you have to suffer from the diseases and pains. So this is the cause and effect system. So in this way, man has to understand how to enjoy the pleasure of life. For that, he has to understand his body, understand the soul, understand its function, understand the consciousness, understand the purpose of his being. So that is the science of living. Finally, because of not knowing all these things, man is getting emotional moods. His mind is diverted towards wrong things. His deeds are becoming wrongs. So not only he spoils himself, he spoils the peace and happiness of others also in the society. Here the emotional moods take shape. The goal of man's knowledge is to develop its own self, to understand the nature fully and become one with Almighty, the unified force, God. He is a fraction, of course, but God is totality. When he understands, the clear thought will come. Always he is one with Almighty. Almighty is one with everybody in every cell. In this understanding, whatever he does, he will maintain the method and limit. That is the respect to God. When he crosses the method and limit, it disturbs the functions of God. Who is working as consciousness in everything, inanimate as well as animate. So, to know all those things, man has to understand three important subjective phenomena: God, life force, and biomagnetic field. Without understanding the God, man gets ego. Ego is taking two psychic modes, I and mind. I goes with the power mongering, mind goes with the property holding, more and more. These two are producing 6 temperamental modes: greed, anger, miserliness, immoral sexual passion, vanity and vengeance. Under these emotional modes, man does any action that will never be happy, never be good. So, he has to understand the emergence of all the moods. If he maintains the awareness of his self, his duty, then the awareness itself will avoid all these emotional modes. Because of emotional modes doing wrong things, every wrong is getting imprinted and the results are also is getting imprint. That is a simple imprint. Thereby, ego imprints of sins. And with these two, man loses the right way of thinking. He gets illusion, that is Maya. So ego, imprints of sins, Maya, these three are called, that is Anava, Karma, Maya. So man is bound with these three impurities in the mind. When he removes these impurities, he is God. Man minus impurities, God. God plus impurities, man. So, man is able to do this. Man is able to purify himself, but in the proper way if he deals with. For that, the understanding of God understanding of the life force, understanding of the biomagnetic field. Then only he will know the art of living, science of living. That will only bring peace and happiness in self and society and among all nations. Therefore, I brought out a system, a theory, which is called unified force, to understand the wholeness of man, to understand the evolution of the universe, to understand the origin of universe. Now I start telling about the evolution of universe and functions of the universe and the results of universe in a very short lecture, in a easy language, because to understand the universe and man, you have to learn 5 sciences together: physiology, biology, psychology, genetics and sociology. All the sciences to learn will take many, many years. Now you are going to learn within few minutes all the subjects, because I am not using any laboratory to demonstrate. I am going to compare or examine or link only your own body, your own mind, your own consciousness, your own biofield. Now let us think about the evolutionary process of universe. You are seeing many masses in the universe: stars, world, and living beings. All are masses. When you analyze any mass, that is the association of energy particle. The energy particle means if you dissect anything, one dissecting, dividing. Finally, when you come to a state, you cannot further disintegrate anything more. That part, that minute and fundamental particle is energy particle. Now, in this understanding, you can realize the whole universe, all the masses are constituted only by the energy particle. Several energy particles combined and make an atom. Several atoms are making molecules. Several molecules are making cells. Several cells are making the body structure and all that. So anyway, the final fundamental constituent is only energy particle. The whole universal secret is only in the energy particle. Before energy particle, what is unseen force, that is called God. When you understand the energy particle, that is in between the unseen God and seen universe. It is the medium. All the secrets of the functioning universe is only in the energy particle. Therefore, the energy particle is to be understood. That is the life force. That is the dynamic force in the whole world. Where it has come from. What is the nature of the energy particle? Now again, you come to the masses of the universe. Every mass in the universe, such as planets, all are rotating itself, moving and floating on the field of universe. How the rotation force came into being? The sun is rotating itself and completing one circle in 25 days. Earth is rotating itself 24 hours, and the moon 29 days. Like that, all the celestial bodies. You may think I am not rotating, but you are on the earth. The earth is rotating, so you are attached to it, so you are also getting rotation. So everything in the universe which is made up of energy particle is rotating. By this, where from the rotation force came, unless there is a rotative force in the basic fundamental particle energy, there is no rotative force in the collective mass. Here you have to understand the energy particle is a force with self-rotation. The self-rotative force of energy particle, when combined as atom, it is also having the same, and stages by stages after mass. According to the collective function, there are so many variations. Now, beyond that, what remains? Where from the energy particle would have come? What is beyond that? Only absolute space. When conceiving or visualizing, imagining the absolute space, man thinks it is nothingness. It is not nothingness. It is the plenum. It is having everything. But we are conditioned with our mind, with time, distance, volume and force, seeing and assessing everything with these 4 dimensions. When we go beyond the 4 dimensions of the universal function, the mind stops functioning, because mind becomes superconscious state. That is formless, limitless. The limitless is the primordial state of universe, truth, God, Almighty, Brahma. When the mind becomes limitless and arupa, formless, the same formless arupa is the static state, Almighty. When mind thinks of Almighty, really, they become both one. There is no friction. If there is no friction between two things, the feeling or understanding is not there. Mind is not there. Therefore, the mind thinks that it is nothing. It is not nothing. Everything came out only from that. So here, first you have to understand the primordial state, which is thought as absolute space or nothingness, is the plenum. It is the unified force of all the forces now we see in the universe. That is the basic state, static state we can say. If you go on minusing, subtracting any action, any movement, where you will end? To the static. So without static, there will be no dynamic force. So what is the static state? Static state is to be non-moving, limitless. That is the space. So, because every mighty thing is floating on it, the space is holding everything, pressing everything together. So that is Almighty, mightier than everything. Therefore it is called Almighty. There is no place in the functioning universe and beyond without that absolute space. So it is omnipresence. So everything in the universe is working with pattern, precision, regularity without fail. So that is the order of function, consciousness. So the Almighty is omniscience, total consciousness. So in this way we have to understand the greatness of Almighty God. Then, because of its inherent force and consciousness, a movement started. That movement is whirling motion. That is also a wave. That is called energy particle. Energy particle is not a mass. It is a wave. Wave of static force. Just like ocean and wave. God and energy particle. Absolute space and energy particle. Static state and dynamic particle can be assumed. So now, first you think of the absolute space, static state, and fraction of it by its own inherent force emerged as an energy particle with self-rotative force. Because of all-round pressure, the Almighty, the particle is moved always without rest. So it is having self-rotative force. From the self-rotative force, another wave starts, that is spreading wave. The spreading wave joins with the static force, that becomes magnetism. These are the core principles of the whole universe. Static state, Almighty God, Brahman, truth. Energy particle, Shakti, dynamic force, whirling motion. It is a fraction of the static. The wave starting from the energy particle, dynamic wave. The wave has 5 functions: clash, reflection, refraction, penetration, interaction. According to the mass, these 5 actions are going on. But this wave spreads, merges with absolute space, the whole universe. That makes magnetic field, that is universal magnetism. You have to, if you want to know the unified force, you have to think of these 4 core principles of the universe. Static state, absolute force, space. Dynamic force, whirling motion of the fraction of absolute. And the spreading wave starting from the energy particle. Magnetism, which is the combined state of wave of energy particle and static force. So the magnetism is having 2 important parts. One is static, other is dynamic. Static becomes attractive, dynamic becomes repulsive in everything and everywhere. These 2 are the cause for all the functions perfectly. Now, you have come to understand the 4 principles, core principles of universe. And what are they? You take the magnetism. Wherever the magnetism is intensified by the association of masses or clash of waves, that is to be balanced, because it is a ocean. Wherever there is intensity, that is to be balanced. The balancing process of magnetic field, magnetism, is pressure, sound, light, smell, taste, and mind in the living being. These 6 results are there. In the pressure, there are 2. According to their place, that may become attractive or repulsive. Both are pressure. But in the light and sound, wherever it starts, that is the first conversion of the pressure, magnetism, that is called electricity. The same light and sound will spread at once. When it starts, that will disappear and spread. But in solid and liquid, this cannot be absorbed or disappear, but it will go on circulating within the molecules. That increased intensity of the electricity becomes chemical actions, smell and taste. So in liquid and solid, the same magnetism transforms into chemical actions. So in the living being, very same magnetic field is used by the consciousness to perceive all the feelings of the body structure and function. It becomes mind. So these 6 results and 4 core principles you add together, that comes 10 dimensions of the universe. If these 10 dimensions of the universe is understood well, there will be no gap between any 2 sciences. These 10 dimensions are having the root of all the sciences in the world so far. If you take biology, physiology is integration and disintegration of the masses. According to that, all the results as pressure, sound, light, smell and taste, how they appear. This is the physiology. Physiology mainly is working as gravitational force, how the atoms are coming together and as atom, molecules, so on, and up to greatest masses. This is the physiology. From the physiology, how the feeling starts. When the molecules are atom joined together and a circuit of magnetic field happens, every cell is getting polarity to flow the magnetism in order. Thereby, the consciousness which is in the middle of life force is able to spread its knowing talent, feeling what is happening in the body. There, the consciousness itself becomes feeling ability, perceptual ability. There, the living being starts, organism starts. So, there is a link between inorganic matter and organic matter when you understand the biomagnetic field and the consciousness functioning. And the psychology. When there is any pain, what happens? The living being wants to get rid of the pain. For that, commodity, facility or action is necessary. So, that becomes a need. From the feeling, the need starts as a second stage of the psychic extension. From the zeal, effort, need, effort starts. From the effort, action starts. From the action, the result comes as pain or pleasure or anything. From the result, enjoyment or experience comes. After experience, research. Then finally realization. So, in the feeling, there are 10 stages of the psychic development of the consciousness. Feeling, need, zeal, action, result, enjoyment, experience, research, realization and conclusion. All the 10 stages of the psychic development of the consciousness totally called as mind. So mind is nothing but only projection. extension of the activities of consciousness. The consciousness is the God, which is taking seat in every life force particle as absolute space. So, psychology starts, physiology, biology, psychology. And because of the magnetic action, every action is sent as a wave. That wave has 5 functions: reflection, refraction, penetration, interaction. Thereby, results are coming: pain, pleasure, peace, ecstasy. All the experiences are imprinted in the soul particle. What is done by the mind, outside or inside, all are getting imprint in the other side, which is soul. So that becomes a collective consciousness, collective knowledge, that is called soul. Then beyond that, the same consciousness is observing everything, superconscious state. So in this way, whatever the imprint happens, by expansion and contraction of the cells in the limbs, all the imprints are physical imprints. And whatever you think, the thought is imprinted through the brain cells and reflected through the brain cells. So, brain cells are having work, mental function. These brains, working order of brain cells and body cells, both are concentrated and got imprinted in the life force particles, that is karma. If you think of any incident in your age after 3, you can remember thousands and thousands of imprints are there. They are not spoiled with one another. All are there as a computer. So there, all are within you, within your consciousness, within your life force. So this is the second stage of the mind. Whatever the mind does, other end is taking photograph and become negative. And beyond that, the superconscious state is working. So all these functions are going on only by the magnetic force of the body, biomagnetism of the body. The life force in the body is always creating the spreading wave. That wave merges with the space within the body, that becomes biomagnetism. As the universal magnetism is created in the outside by the energy particle in the space, same way biomagnetism is produced here. This is small, that is big. Always these both magnetic field are connected with one another. So, whatever happens in the universe, that will result as good and bad, pain and pleasure into the body. Whatever happens in the body, that reaches as computer imprint in the universe, as well as in other human body also. This is the psychology. And all these are produced, transformed as Xerox copy in the seed cells, go to the progenies as a character, hereditary link of all the character of parents, that is genetic value. Then in between individual and society, whatever happened, what are the experiences, all the cultural values and other things are sociology. So all one has to understand what is life, understand the science of living. For this first principle is God Almighty. Without knowing or understanding or giving merit, respect to that phenomenon, Almighty, man gets ego. By ego, he is conditioning his mind only with the small experiences what he gets, and sometimes is moved by power mongering or property holding, becomes greed, anger, miserliness, all this temperamental force. Thereby, what he has come for, that is forgotten. What is the potential in the knowledge to expand, understand his own self and the universe and God and live accordingly. If this is not achieved, if the mind is not, the consciousness is not linked with the purpose, then it gets diverted. All the force which is growing in the consciousness of man to develop to the perfection, that is diverted towards the materials and power. So man is having four kinds of craving. That is material, power, materials, sensual enjoyment, and fame. These four, his mind is diverted, conditioned. So he is out to do anything to others, any pain or destruction to others without knowing the cause and effect system. So doing this atrocity to one another, the whole world is suffering. If a man understands this truth, he is provided with everything in the universe. Millions and millions of happiness are provided in the universe for man. If he understands, he can lead a life to have all the enjoyments. Also, he can improve his talent, his efficiency, mentally and physically to the perfect point, so that each one will be able to help 100 people in the world, 1,000 people in the world, for many longer period of the society. Every man is having such wonderful power and value because he does not know. He is diverted, he is conditioned only by conditioning and the habit. He is rolling in the same place, same actions, getting all the defects. Never he thought of why I am suffering, who am I, where I came from. This is not known. If he thinks, stops, thinks, understands, then he will be able to purify himself and perfect himself and lead the life accordingly with the help of other elderly people who have sufficient experiences in the world. So this is missing. To fill up this missing, we should know the unified force, which is the cause for everything. The unified force is the gravitational force in every celestial bodies. The same is gravitational force in the life force. What you are seeing through the eyes, that is attracted and fixed, imprint. That is the gravitational force within the life force. The same way, in the middle of any celestial body, because of the rotation, self-rotation, the periphery is lighter. When you go inside, slow movement and stronger and heavier elements are gathering, and in the middle there is a point where there is no motion at all. Therefore, the gravitational force is centering in every celestial bodies, thereby even in the earth. The middle point is gathered with heavy elements, getting congestion, atomic fission, always having huge fire. That fire makes the metals and mud as paste and brings out all the 4,000 miles to the earth, that is surface of the earth, as volcano. The same fire is making all petroleums within the earth. So in this way, first heavier elements, then metals and mud, then the water, then beyond the water, air, beyond the air, energy. In this way, every celestial body is settled. This is a centripetal force, the gravitational force in every celestial body is in the middle. Therefore, wherever you stand on the surface, you are attracted towards the middle. Any weighty things are attracted towards the middle. The same way, whatever we focus, see, that reflection is attracted towards the middle point. That is the consciousness attractive force. So these are the main principles in the physiology. And then if you understand the physiology with full clearness, that is the biology, there is the psychology, there is genetics, imprints and reflection of that is deed. If the imprint and reflection of the deeds are understood, karma theory will be very well understood. Therefore, man always will be aware of his doing, deeds and results. Whatever he does, because every particle in the universe, inanimate and animate, all are having the consciousness perfectly to work as pattern, precision, regularity. When you move with anything, automatically the result has to come. Result comes. According to your motive and efficiency, the result will give you pain, pleasure, peace or ecstasy. So, whatever you do, you are using fractional consciousness. The total consciousness comes as presence, as a result. That is, God comes as a result in your action. He is hiding or penetratively existing in everything so that he comes as result. If this is understood, never a man will forget the existence and functions of the God. Always he will be with the God, God will be with him. So this is the perfect knowledge man has to understand. In this knowledge, man will not be dare enough to do harm to any living being because he knows in all the living beings and everything the God exists as consciousness. I should not disturb the natural rhythm. So this way always he will do anything under the virtues, morality, duty, charity. Therefore, it will help himself as well as to the society as virtues. So understanding of the God, worship of God and maintaining harmony in the society, virtue. Both are coming into being when man understands this secret of universal force. Then next subject goes how the formation of living being starts, how the eyes and nose and the structures are formed one after other with a scientific basis. I will explain why man is suffering, how to get rid of all the sufferings. I will tell you in the next lecture in the evening. With these words, I conclude my speech and wish all of you happy, blissful and bright